did a video last week about how to find wood, and I cut up just a nasty old stump, which was it was my plan to show people that you find wood in some weird places. Try to come up with some suggestions for people to go out and find their own wood and stuff like that, to maybe keep from having to buy so much. Because some of this wood costs a lot of money if you go and try to buy it. But I had a lot of comments on that video, people wanting to see projects made from the wood that I cut up out of an old stump that most people would have written off, and I would have written it off a few years back if it wasn't an experiment. I do a lot of experiments with wood and stuff. I've got it set out in different types of conditions, and some's sealed, some's not sealed, some's under roof, some's outside, some's standing in grain, just out in the dirt, and that's the way this one was. And I got to cutting into it. I found some really punky wood. It got thrown away, but I found some really good wood in it also. And here's a project that I'm already working on right here. This is kind of an ogee shaped bowl, and but people were wanting to see projects, see what you can do with that kind of wood. This wood is it's not punky, but it's not hard either, so it's right in between. It's got a lot of spalting, a lot of good colors, things like that, but it takes a little bit extra care in order to get a good surface prep for your finish on this type of wood. So we're going to be dealing with some spalted wood today, and I'm going to use this blank right here. And if I sent a piece of wood to Albert Furtado. If you haven't seen his channel, he's really getting his wood turning together. He's an exceptional turner, and he really loves what he's doing. But he made a comment, I'm going to come raid your log pile or something like that anyway. And I said, well, send me your address and I'll send you some. Well, he kind of hem-hawed around. I don't think he wanted that old spalted stuff, but anyway, I sent it to him anyway. And Al, fantastic job, buddy. That thing just looked great when you got done, and I really like what you did with it. But I'll leave a link to Albert's page, or his YouTube channel, at the bottom. This video here is I'm going to do a lot of fast forwarding through stuff and all this, because this isn't really a project video. I'm going to try to do it all in one 30-minute session, thereabouts. What I'm trying to do is just show you what I do to the spalted wood in order to get a nice finish on it without all the tear out and all of that stuff. So oh yeah, by the way, I've had a couple of interesting days the last couple of days. I went to a wood-turning symposium that was here in Cartersville this weekend, and it's actually going on through tomorrow also. But awesome. I've never actually went to a wood-turning symposium before, but it was awesome. The vendors were really nice, helpful people. The gallery, oh my gosh, y'all wouldn't believe it. Some of the finest, most beautiful work I've ever seen in my life that was turned on a lathe. I was like, wow. And it really was. If you ever get a chance to go to a wood turning symposium, you need to go and just to look at other people's work. It's just amazing. And it's a good place to meet people too. I met a couple other YouTube guys, and and talked with them. Mike Peace, I met him down there. He does YouTube videos, and he's more of a professional turner than I am. He's got a lot better equipment and stuff like that, but he does really good turnings too. You may want to go check out his channel. But I'll leave a link to those two guys if you guys want to go check them out. But today I'm going to start with this blank here. It's a 7-inch blank, and it's that same piece that I sent Albert. It comes from the same piece of wood. I had to cut the end of it off because it wouldn't fit in the box. So, but this came from that, and I'm going to see what I can get out of it. I'm just going to try to make a bowl. So I'm going to cut a bowl for him really quick on this, and then I'm going to show you how I try to harden this wood up so I can get a decent finish on the outside of it. Also, at the symposium, I got me a smock. I've always wanted one, now I've got one. And my mom even embroidered my name on it. Thank you, Mom. I love you. Alright, let's get this thing on the lathe, and we'll get it turned. Like I said, it's going to be more of a sped up video, except for when I get to actually treating the wood. Okay, let's get this thing rolling. All right. Okay, first things first. You're dealing with spalted wood. I mean, you can see these big cracks and things like that in it. You've got to be careful, because spalted wood turns different than a lot of your hardwood, because it's got weak parts inside and strong parts and stuff like that. I've got it mounted on a spur right now, but very easily I could strip that spur out, possibly. You know, we'll see. I don't think I will, and you have to watch out for these big cracks. I think it's going to look good, but always keep mind of safety, because these things can come flying out of your lathe on very short notice, and you know, probably you won't be able to get out of the way fast enough. You got to go to the dentist and get new teeth. So but anyway, I'm going to be wearing a face shield during this, and always use sharp tools. Keep your tools sharp. A lot of systems out there to sharpen tools with. I use Captain Eddie's. I took his Black Hawk design offline, and that's what I use, and it's served me well for many years so far. But anyway, we're going to get started on this. I'm going to put a tenon down on this end so I can mount this thing in my chuck. So we'll go ahead and start shaping the outside. Alright, let's see where we're at here. Okay, a little bit more there. You can see the tear out and all. Not a whole lot you can do about that yet, but I'm going to show you what I'll do about it shortly. Get on in here a little bit closer. Just getting ready to continue on. I'm just making a little ogie curve on here. Look at this. That's some kind of fungus right there. And it's already kind of expanding out into where I've already cut. Okay, let's see if I got that. Yes. Alright, I got it. Good and round now. Yeah, that stuff right there, it's like foam. But I didn't put any foam in the tree. But that right there, don't really know what it is. But that's kind of the rough shape I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and square up the tenon and all that, and we'll get this thing reverse mounted. good square tin, and I'm ready to mount it in the chuck. I'll be right back. Alright, now the idea here, since I'm dealing with spalted wood and I'm sure you can see the tear out and stuff like that, it's pretty bad here, but that wood is actually soft. Okay, makes it very hard to actually cut through it without tearing it apart because there's just not much there keeping it together. So what I'm doing is I'm going to rough this thing out, and when I rough it, I'm going to rough it thick. At least a 1/4 inch thicker, or maybe even a little bit more than what I want it to end with. So I'm gonna do that, and that way I'll be able to cut all this tear out back out once I get the wood hardened up. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna turn my headstock a little bit. It just helps me with my hogging out and stuff like that. Start hollowing this out. Now I'm not worried about being gentle right now. I'm just trying to get this thing roughed down so I can get the wood hardener on it. Now it's mounted in a chuck. It is mounted in the chuck, but you got to be very careful. Like I said, if you get a catch or something, you can throw this thing just all over the place. You really don't know. Let's look at it and just see. Yeah, I'm still about, okay, I'm a good 1.25 inches down there, so I got plenty in the bottom left to go. Up the sides. Okay. Okay, I'm probably gonna go just less than 3/4 inches thick all the way. Well, when I was about to take it off the chuck, I decided I'd just kind of touch up the outside just a little bit. And bayow, this thing came apart. Just like I said, these things are the wood is very unpredictable when it's like in this condition. But the other piece landed out here by my truck. So anyway, I'm going to glue that back together, and then I'm going to proceed on. Just wanted you to see that. All right. And what I'm doing now is I'm getting ready to use a wood hardener. Let me find the brush. There it is. I'm getting ready to use a wood hardener to harden up this wood so that I can take out some of this tear out, you know, and stuff like that. I could have got better with this, but it's not going to get much better without having having the surface hardened up. But what I'm using, this is called PC Petrifier. Maybe you can see that. It's a wood hardener, and it's actually for rotted wood. This wood is close to starting to rot, really, you know, but it's not rotten yet. And the way you apply this is you can brush it, you can soak it. Basically, you want this stuff to penetrate the whole thing. You can actually, if you can afford to buy enough of it, you could fill a bucket up with it and soak the whole bowl blank. And if you, you know, you could actually do that if you wanted to. But I prefer turning it rough down. I'm about, you know, 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 thick, all the way down the bowl. So this stuff won't have any problem getting all the way into all the wood. So you're supposed to saturate it until it really doesn't take any more, and then you let it sit. They say overnight, but I've found that, you know, it really needs to sit for a couple of days really. And you just slather it on the best you can. Get it all in there the best you can. You know, get it all in there. And you can't be stingy with it. If you want to be stingy with it, it'll never work. So just get as much of it in there as you can. And get it all on the sides. And the whole thing. Because this wood has got to be saturated. If it's not saturated, it won't work. And you just put it on there until it won't take any more. And this stuff works really well, but it is kind of expensive. I got this PC petrifier. I bought it at my local hardware store, and it's really thin. Really thin stuff, but it costs a good bit of money too. And I just make sure that I get that whole surface soaked down really well with it. The whole surface. And what this will do is it'll harden it up. It'll harden that wood up. This stuff works better than like using a finish or something like that. I know Albert, he said he couldn't find wood hardener, and it is kind of hard to find. I just got lucky that my local hardware store has it. But you know, not all hardware stores. You can see where it's come through. It's all soaked through here and stuff. And you know, I've got it. So now I'll start working on the outside of it, and I won't worry if I get it on the tenon, even though the tenon's going to be coming off. And just get it all over it. Guess you can see that. Get it all over it. And we'll just keep on applying. Until I get the whole thing saturated really well. Put it on the outside, and I'll even go back and put it on the inside again. It would probably work better if you could soak it, but this works plenty good enough to harden the surface so that you can get it prepped for a finish. Alright, we're almost there. And if you don't want any on your workbench, put down a newspaper or something. I don't really care. I've got wax on my workbench. So if I feel like cleaning it off, I can. This stuff will just scrape right off of it because it can't penetrate that wax. Alright, now we're getting to the point where we've already got a lot of it in there. And you'll use a lot of this stuff. And this stuff is $6 a bottle. Here in Rockmart, it's $6 a bottle. Maybe you can find it cheaper where you live, but I can't find it cheaper here. We got one store that sells it, and they're the only ones that's got it. And if you want it, you can pay what they are asking. But it's really good stuff. It really works good, or I wouldn't have bought it. But I'm sure any wood hardeners would work. You've got the wood stabilizers and resins like cactus juice and things like that. The biggest thing is just use it according to the directions. Now, I don't have as much soaking in anymore. But just make sure you use it according to the directions, and it'll harden that wood up really well. It will really get that wood hardened up good. I'm going to go back and throw some more on the inside. See, I even have it soaking through now in here. I just squirt a bunch down in there, and I just start pushing around with my brush. And this stuff is water-based, but I've found no problems putting a lacquer finish on this once it's cured up. A lacquer or a shellac, of course shellac, you know, it'll stick to anything, but that's, you know, that's how I do that. And see, now it's pooling and everything else, so I'm thinking at least the surface is really, really soaked up good. So I've got a little bit of that left. I started out with about a half a bottle, and now I'm down, it feels like about right here. So from there to there is about what I've used, which is actually a good bit. But you just keep putting it on there until it doesn't soak anymore. You know, once it quits soaking it in, then there's no point in putting more on it. But if you could actually put it in a bucket full of that stuff, you know, you'd probably maybe even get better results. But I'm going to have to put that one up now for a couple of days. So I'm going to put that one up. But this one here has already been, it's already been done. So, I mean, you can see there's a lot of tear out and stuff on it also. So I'm gonna go ahead and chuck this up and tear out and stuff. And I'm gonna go ahead and chuck this one back up, and I'll finish the video using this one right here. That way you don't have to wait another couple of days to see the results. The results will be the same for either one. Alright, let's get that chucked up.